Good evening. Good evening. My name is Joseph Amico, and welcome to our regular school committee meeting. Tonight is June 13th, 2023. If at this time, could I ask the superintendent to, we're going to be taking this out of order, if that's okay? Everyone here? Superintendent Vidala?
Excellent. So we have a lot of friends today joining us from the West Elementary School and the Welch Elementary School. So we would like all of our students to please, we're going to stand and lead us in the pledge, followed by a moment of silence. So if everybody could please stand, and our friends from the West and the Welch will join us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Dr. Vidala?
Thank you, Mr. Miko. So we are delighted tonight to have two student presentations, and we'd like to begin with our West Elementary. So Principal Broughton, if you could please come up here with the students. I will put your presentation up on the big screen for everyone to see. And our friends can introduce themselves. And for a little bit of help, we have our West Memorial School Wildcat Highlights. So we're going to showcase student successes for 2022-2023.
Okay, thank you. Much better. The students of the West Memorial Elementary School have been committed to building upon their foundation of knowledge throughout the school year. While engaged with their teachers and each other, they have acquired new skills, new strategies, and the confidence that is needed to continue to grow, develop, and shine bright. Please enjoy each success that our students would like to showcase for you. So I'm going to start with our kindergarten friends. So I have, you want to introduce yourselves? You got to come right over here, a little closer. You want to say your name?
Hi, my name is Declan.
Okay, we have Declan. Okay, you want to come over?
My name's Michaela. And my name's Ella.
Okay, so stand over here with me. And I'm going to start. So they made this poster in their kindergarten class about ST Math because they've had a lot of success this year with ST Math, right? They love Gigi. Yeah, see how excited he is? So I'm going to ask them to share their favorite thing about ST Math. So Ella, you want to go first?
I like ST Math because it's really entertaining. I like ST Math because it's fun. I love ST Math. The white go boom, boom, boom to go to the next level.
Okay. And Ella, how does ST Math make us better at school?
It makes our brains bigger.
Okay. Michaela, what do you do when you get stuck at ST Math?
You go back to a level that's easy, and then you work up to go to the hard ones.
Okay. And Declan, are you ever really done with ST Math?
No.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to ask Katie to come over, one of our first graders. Nice job. All right, Katie. So our first grade students completed an animal research project during the first trimester. So each student selected an animal of his interest, conducted their research, and presented a final write-in piece that showcased the factual information that was learned. So you want to introduce yourself? So I brought one of our first graders.
My name is Katie.
And she wants to share her project. You want to show them? You can read it for them if you want.
I was really proud of my animal research because I learned a lot about owls. I worked really hard and did a great job. I would like to read what I wrote to you. Owls fly high at night. Owls hoot at night. Owls fly quietly at night. Owls have many colors like white, brown, and gray.
All right, thank you. All right, you can go back with your friend. Okay, and I'm going to invite second graders up. Come on over. So our second grade team was fortunate to have many remarkable guest appearances at their guest dress-up biography day. So we brought two of them here today for you.
Hi, I'm Annika. Hi, I'm Vincent.
Do you want to share your projects? Who wants to go first? That's it, go ahead.
My name is Julius Caesar, Emperor of Rome. I was born in 100 BC to a wealthy family. I joined the Roman army when I was 19 years old. After serving in the army, I went to Rome to work in politics. The people of Rome loved me. I was a great politician, public speaker, and writer, but I knew the only way to true power was through military conquest. So I became the general of the Roman army and grew the empire. My rivals back in Rome were jealous of me and told me to give up control of my armies. I said no and went to war with another great general named Pompey. After I defeated Pompey, I named myself dictator for life. The Roman people feared that I was becoming too powerful. So on the Ides of March in 44 BC, I was betrayed by my friends and assassinated as I entered the Senate.
Thank you, Vincent. Nice job. You want me to hold this?
Yeah, I'm just gonna set this up.
Okay, you can sit there.
Hi, my name is Sally Ride. I was born on May 26, 1951, and died July 23, 2012. I was born in Los Angeles, California. My favorite constellation is Orion. My parents are Dale and Joyce Ride. When I was little, I couldn't pronounce my name, so I called myself Sassy. That name fit me perfectly. I love science and sports. I was smart. I love playing tennis. I was captain of my high school tennis team, and I went to Swarthmore College where I studied physics, but I loved playing tennis and gave it up to go to Stanford. Then I saw in the school newspaper that NASA wanted to recruit women. That's when I decided to be an astronaut. I got invited to NASA in August 1977. I was one of the 33 chosen. I was excited but nervous. In June 1983, I was the first woman in space. My job was to operate a big robot arm to deploy and grab satellites. I was proud of my job because all the eyes were on me and everything worked perfectly. I love my life as an astronaut and teacher.
All right, Evie. Okay. Next, we have one of our third graders. The students had begun to identify why my future is so bright. Their pure joy, determination, and aspirations currently line the hallway. So here's Evie. Maybe just introduce yourself first.
My name's Evie. I would like to share a piece of my writing that I developed about why my future is so bright. Get your sunglasses ready because this is going to be good. I see myself having a very bright future. I hope to go to Washington University. While I'm there, I will study astrophysics. After I graduate, I will apply for a job at NASA. Then I will train to become an astronaut. When I am ready, I will go to Mars and hopefully be the first person or woman to step foot on Mars. That is what I see in my really bright future. I hope you enjoyed listening to my writing success.
All right, thank you. Nice job. Thank you. Okay, Valentina, you want to come on? Okay. During Red Ribbon Week, fourth grade students were asked to write essays that identified the person who clapped the loudest for them. This required students to personally reflect on someone they could count on to cheer them on and offer support through all of life's events.
Hi, my name is Valentina Stewart. I am proud that I am supportive.
One day at the West vs. Brown School basketball game, I was sitting with my friend Madeline Hutton. Our team was good, but the other team was a bit better. We got one basket, they got two. They got a foul, we got two. Anyways, we were losing 6-2. My friend Eloise Burns was sad because she passed the ball by accident to the other team. So me and Madeline got out our pom-poms. Give me an E, give me an L, give me an O-I-S-E. What's that spell? Eloise. That cheer lifted her spirits enough to play. We may have lost about 12-8, but I'm glad that I supported my friend.
The fifth grade recently hosted an author's brunch and welcomed families to attend. Each guest was treated to a wonderful menu that highlighted many writing traits of each author, while showcasing their stories and genres of writings, themes, and characters. The selections and props were simply delectable.
Hello, I am Mason D'Amico from the 5th grade at West Elementary. And today I'm going to be presenting what my friends and I read a novel about. The first project I am going to show you is a novel about a boy who has amnesia but can't remember that he was a total jerk. So the project was we had to write a cup and predict what we thought our favorite character was. Then we had to draw it, color it, and then we had to write 10 character traits on what they did and that really made them up. The next project is a book after a book named Save Me a Seat. Save Me a Seat is about a kid named Ravi that had to get transported from India because his father got a new raise in America. The story heavily talks about food as one of its themes, and one of its main characters, Joe Sylvester, really likes food. But the thing is, whenever he's sad, he lost his appetite. But whenever he's happy, he eats lots and lots and lots. And when he's most happy, it's on pizza days. And each slice represents either the beginning, middle, or end, or characters and settings. It is made with mushrooms and jalapenos. And the last thing we made to match it all together is a poster of the two books. Thank you for letting me present today.
All right. Thank you for allowing our students to showcase their success. We are proud to say that hope is shining bright at the West School.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Broughton. I'm Mayor Ted Betancourt. I'm sorry I was a little late. I was actually at my daughter's soccer game, but I really wanted to get here to see the presentations from the West School, the Welch School, and I know I can speak for everybody on our school committee. We love these moments where we can see what's taking place in the schools, and we were quite impressed. That was a terrific presentation, so thank you for being here, West School. You guys are amazing. Any questions for our West School, Mrs. Broughton, or any of our students? Sally Ride or Julie Caesar, any questions for anybody? All right, thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you to our West School families for supporting your students. An excellent job. Really impressed with the level of rigor that these students are all having at each grade level. These were really impressive. We also have another group today. I'd like to welcome Miss Massa and the Welch School Wildcats to come on up. As you know, one of the district themes is a sense of belonging, and so the Welch students are going to talk about the Welch Way.
Thank you. Ah, there I am. The theme at the Welch School has been the Welch Way. We've hashtagged it. It's part of our Twitter feed. Look us up. We're trending. Something that we have instilled in our students and our staff is a way to carry ourselves on a day-to-day basis. So we talk about consistency and being respectful, being responsible, and being safe. And that's really resonated in our students. And one of the things that we addressed at the very beginning of the school was to make sure, because with our construction piece, we lost a third of our school. And what happened was we wanted to make sure that everybody still felt connected and that they belonged. They were there for a reason. So we started talking to all of our students about making sure that they had a person. Who, if something came up, could you talk to? Who would you reach out to? And it was amazing just to hear their stories, so we're gonna share some of those stories. So first, we're gonna talk about being respectful, so I'm gonna invite Rhea and Mason up. Right here, love. Go ahead. Rhea was, that's okay. Rhea was being respectful, why? You wanna tell them why? That's okay, you don't have to do it, it's okay. It's okay. Rhea was being very respectful because one day she found that she was having a hard time at school, so she automatically knew that she could turn to a friend and they could talk it out and make sure that they were connected together and be friends. So she was being respectful like that, right? Good job, Rhea. Mason, how about you?
I'm more respectful because Mr. Gooby and Miss Carr come into my classroom, and I'm a better listener at home now.
Nice job, Mason. You good? That's okay. Jared and Mila would like to tell you why they are responsible now.
One time I forgot to feed the cats, and my mom asked, "Did you feed the cats?" And I didn't know what to tell, but then I thought the last way I told the truth.
Nice job.
Once I found a ticket on the ground, I returned it to the teacher, and they said you can keep it for being responsible.
Dante and Kyrie will tell you about being safe at the Welch School.
I feel safe at the Welch School because at the start of the year I would always get sad coming in, and with Ms. Carr's check-ins and strategies, now it's better for me to come in and feel good to come in. I help someone when they fell outside. That's it. At recess.
Right. So you helped them be safe and can make sure that they were okay and got them to the nurse, right? Nice job. Eliasa and Arila will tell you about a sense of belonging.
I forgot what I was going to say. Sometimes I have a hard time listening at my school, but my teacher never gives up.
Hello. So, when I was at home because I broke my ankle, everybody sent me cards with BBIS tickets. And when I got back to school, everybody was excited to see me. And when I got to lunch, everybody was just shouting my name like, Arila, Arila. Now to Miss Massa for the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
So as we all know, this is why students and teachers matter. It's a very clear correlation for our sense of belonging as to the effect that students have when they feel loved and respected and are seen. So we are very thankful for all of our staff at the Welch School because our children are seen. And we get to show it directly in our student data with our growth scores in both math and reading are off the charts. So we're pretty proud of ourselves. So we would like to thank you and for seeing us today, and thank you for having us, and our wonderful Welch students are always happy to come back at any time. Thank you.
Great job, Ms. Massa. Thank you so much. Thank you, students. That was terrific. And I thank you and really everybody at the Welch School community. I know it's been challenging as we were doing our project. We can't wait till we're nearing the end, and we can't wait till the finished product. The school's going to be beautiful. But I know it's been some struggles and tough times, and I really appreciate everybody's hard work. And the success you're having is just a testament to all of you and your families and the teachers and staff at the Welch School working so hard. So thank you so much. It's been a great year, and things are getting better. We're getting close on that project. We're close. We're close. Any questions for Ms. Massa or any of our students? Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Massa, and thank you, Mr. McLaughlin, also for coming. And of course, our Welch families, thank you for all your support. The kids are amazing. I think the one word that Ms. Massa continues to say is flexible. Everybody's been very flexible, and we appreciate that. I think the building project is coming along great. You feel a lot of love at the Welch School, and we're very excited for what's to come. If we don't mind, we have two quick presentations. If we could just continue with the superintendent's report. We have Mrs. Sullivan from the South School, and then we have some Peabody Prep folks as well. So if we could just jump to Ms. Sullivan. If you can come on up. We have a very exciting project that we're working on. Here we go. This is our horticulture pilot. So I'll turn it over to Mrs. Sullivan.
There we go. Well, hi, thank you for having me here tonight. My name is Isabella Rosa. I am a South School alumni, and I recently designed and installed a garden at the South School. My aim for this was to have it be designed for pollinators, for like all the bees and the butterflies, hummingbirds, and be plants that are native to this region, meaning that they've been here a long time and that the pollinators really love them. And I decided to do this garden because I'm in pursuit of a botany certificate through an organization called Native Plant Trust, and you had to do a volunteer project. And my first thought was I want to give back to my elementary school, and I want to do something for them. So I talked with Jocelyn, and we quickly, this idea became rolling, and I started buying all the plants, designing it, talking to my coworkers, that they helped me pick out the plants and design it to just make it look wonderful. And I'm really happy with how it came out, and I hope that all the students can benefit from this garden and that it can be the start of something great in the community.
Yeah, that was great. Isabella, that was terrific. I'm a proud South School alum also, and I love that school. Can you say again, what was the certificate you were going for?
It's an advanced botany certificate through an organization called Native Plant Trust. It's a nonprofit organization that helps preserve native plants in New England, and I've been taking multiple courses with them for the past couple years, learning about different aspects of plants and horticulture, botany, and this is my volunteer project for that certificate.
Excellent. And how close are you to getting that? You still have some more work ahead of you?
I'm hoping to get it by the end of the year, maybe next year. I'm in the process of taking some courses. One's about learning about wetlands that I have next week, and it's just amazing to learn about all these different things.
Great. Yeah, please keep us updated. That's terrific.
Definitely.
Thank you for doing that work. That's so wonderful. Any questions for Isabella, Mr. Hockman? Oh, yeah, Mr. Hockman, yeah. I know this is of interest to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Rosa and Ms. Sullivan. Ms. Rosa is already calling principals by their first name. It's nice.
Sorry. I've known her for a while.
No, I had first of all, thank you, Dr. Vidala, for putting this on the agenda tonight, and Ms. Rosa for the presentation that you've made, and Ms. Sullivan for the collaboration and bringing Ms. Rosa to us. Ms. Rosa and I had a very, very brief opportunity to speak tonight, and she now realizes that she's walking into something far greater than what she expects, and that's fantastic. So I'm hoping, my hope for this is, first of all, for Ms. Rosa to complete her volunteer project that is a requirement for her certification or degree, or your continuation of your education. But my goal here is for you, Ms. Sullivan and Dr. Chase, to work towards a curriculum based upon the things that you know that you've been taught, and you're going to teach some South School kids that we can introduce to 8 elementary schools next academic year, so that we can incorporate all of the important things that you're so excited about, and it's so nice to see the exuberance that you have tonight. To all the young people who are here tonight from the West School and the Welch School and all of the other elementary schools, so that they can learn about why it's important for us to have bees and pollinators, and how that translates into food. So when they sit down and they eat a French fry, they'll know that that French fry comes from a plant, and that plant is in the ground, and without pollinators and without fertilizers and nutrients and water and a whole lot of things that you'll teach them, or your curriculum will allow others to teach them, they'll understand why that French fry is on their plate or in front of them that night. And pizza, where was the gentleman that spoke about Dante, right? Mason, excuse me, D'Amico, right? Yeah, Mr. D'Amico talked about pizza, and you're going to teach them about all the vegetables that go into that pizza, right? The wheat that grows so that the dough can be made, and the tomatoes that need to be grown. And that's all going to happen, I hope, at each of our 8 elementary schools, but not just for the fruits and vegetables to grow, but for the children, the students, to understand how they're growing, why they're growing, and for what reason we grow them. So thank you tonight for your introduction to the Peabody Public School System. I look forward to working with you over the course of the year in this project, and hope to have many conversations in that curriculum development.
Yes,
So
thank you. I look forward to it as well.
Great. Great.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And we do hope that this expands. And I can say, as a proud father of the South School, this has exceeded our expectations. So thank you so much. And we're very excited to see where this can go. And if we don't mind, we have just one other student presentation for our virtual school, Peabody Prep. So I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Lord for a presentation.
Thanks, Dr. Vidal, and everybody, for a few minutes of your time to bring you up to speed on our virtual school. It's been a lot of fun for the last couple of years. We've been doing some wonderful things, and why don't we go on to the next slide and we can start that conversation. First thing I wanted to share with everyone was our enrollment. These are off the Department of Ed's website. 123 students last year. We have 128 this year. We're looking at 119 next year. We have 8 graduates last year. We had 11 graduates this year. I'm really proud. 3 of them earned their seal of biliteracy, so they could speak in both languages. They got proficiency with that. This year we had one of the highest credit earners ever in Peabody, 152.5 credits for that student who graduated. And our biggest class is the rising seniors. We're projecting somewhere around 30 seniors to graduate for next year. Our attendance is a little above 90% this year, 92 last year. There's some background on some of our data. Let's go on to the next one. This will give you an idea of the profile of the students that are at Peabody Prep. Again, this is off the Department of Education's website. There's the profile of the state on my right district, and our school is the one in the center column. We tend to have more high-needs students. They tend to be in the low-income category more often than not when compared to the district and to the state. And there's some reasons for that, particularly at the high school level, that I can share with you. We've had an increase in the number of high-needs students last year over this year. Let's go on to the next slide. This is something I'm really proud of. At the end of the MCAS exams, the students take a vocal assessment, which is an assessment of their perspective on school climate, engagement, safety, and environment. And when the kids took this survey last year, the state and Peabody's right around 50, but in terms of engagement, safety, environment, the kids really love it at the virtual school. They're in the high 60s or 70s. So there's some really good information about how the kids are feeling about the virtual setting. Let's go on to the next one. This is our growth data from last year. We had over half the students had high and medium growth, and the math had a big jump last year. Almost 70% of the students had high or medium growth for their time in the virtual school. Go on to the next one. And this is this year right now. Again, over half the students that are in the virtual setting are either medium or high growth, and we're really proud of that. We're going to keep moving in that direction. So next year, we're going to continue assessing the social and emotional health of our students. If the C-list surveys, which everyone in the city has been involved with for the last couple of years, continue with the State Department, we will be looking at that portrait of student social and emotional health through that. We'll also be using a self-manager. It's one of our Vision of the Graduate competencies. We'll continue using STAR data to measure our growth in reading and in mathematics. The high school teachers have really gotten to know our students well, and we are taking the curriculum and we've been springboarding all of our instruction off the published curriculum that's on the district website. But some of the students and teachers have an interest in an integrated math program. We're going to try that next year. Writer's workshop for the seniors, and Mr. McHugh is really interested in getting involved in a class called Democracy in Action, which hasn't run at the high school for a while. Hopefully it's coming up at the high school this year, but he's been teaching that for a while, and he wants to try that at the high school. The honors projects, we have a bunch of kids that are just academic rock stars. About half the kids are on the honor roll every quarter. And so we are establishing an honors project in the core subject areas where students, if they want to get that extra kick in their GPA, they can take the honors project in English or in math or science or social studies, and they'll get an extra boost for whatever grade they get in their core subject. And I can't see the whole thing there. Can go back one little bit. There was a couple of things in there. The middle school has been trying to find a way to improve math skills, and we found a nice product called Aleph Math Pathways that we're going to try in the middle school, and it really seems to be doing well with our kids. You saw the growth scores in mathematics. We're hoping this one will take them to the next level in middle school. And Dr. Bell, I can't see the last slide. There was one more bullet underneath that. Can you see that? There it is, yep. So we will hopefully have a program of studies to share with you for this coming winter. And we have the NEAC application. As you know, high school is fully accredited by the New England Association of Schools and Colleges. I would love to be the first virtual school to be fully accredited in New England for our elementary, middle, and high school. So we're going to take a look at that. And we also have a memorandum of agreement with surrounding districts. We have a half a dozen students that are now coming in from other districts. They're tuitioning in, and we hope to expand that in the coming year and hopefully bring some funding and also some other students that found this of value during the pandemic into our world as well. We're quickly becoming the gold standard for virtual education, which has been a lot of fun. But that's enough about me. The kids put together a really wonderful video to share with you. Will it play on this setting, Dr. Badala? We click on that, we give it a whirl. They want you to share a little bit about their perspective. Then we have some folks in person. If there's anybody in person, I see several of our Peabody Prep families. Come on in and sit right behind me. You can sit right after the video. You can go. Is there sound? two more. Oh, two more students. This was one of our graduates at graduation. She is deaf and she needs to have a scripter as people are speaking. So when she was virtual, she was allowed to have that scripter. She knew what everybody was saying because she could read it. And this is what she's explaining at graduation last week or the week before. Sure. This is Emma Aguiar. Emma had a family emergency in the Azores, and she was allowed to continue to do her virtual learning from the other side of the world. She continued to tap in for many weeks while she was supporting her family out in the Azores. It was a really good opportunity for her, and she's got a great T-shirt there, just saying. All right. So I know we have some panelists here that wanted to say a few words. Come on up.
Hi, everybody. My name is Deborah Mitchell. I have a freshman in the Peabody Prep. My son will be moving on to sophomore year, hoping on the Peabody Prep. That's the plan. My son became very ill September 2nd of 22, and we still don't have a final diagnosis, but he's being cared for through Boston Children's, and it's been a road. Peabody stepped right up for him, and he was doing tutoring with Valerie Smirnos, one-on-one, but obviously that isn't enough. You know, you've got a caseload as a freshman, and Dr. Laura got in touch with us and explained everything quite thoroughly. He's on an IEP as well, so we all met virtually. And I'm so grateful for Peabody Prep, specifically Dr. Lord, Mr. McHugh, Mrs. Butler, Mrs. Mongelli, Margaret Kelly, and Mrs. Bigman. I'm not sure where we would be academically without the prep, to be honest with you. And, you know, although Cameron is somewhat better, he is nowhere near ready to return to in-person school. And he also wrote a letter here too, but before I get to that, you know, one of the students here mentioned academic support. You know, when they're on prep, they have access to help at any moment. They just have to message or email someone. One of the people that I mentioned above, and you know, they're always there for support. Every day for a period of time, they meet with academic support. My son can struggle with focus. He has struggled with executive function, social emotional. So this has just been an all-around blessing for us. And I do hope that he can continue his educational career at the Peabody Prep. And yes, he wrote this letter, so I'd like to share that with you. He couldn't be here tonight. He's not feeling good enough. Peabody Prep has been helpful to me as I have been dealing with health problems and cannot handle the setting of an in-person school right now. Peabody Prep is a good resource that should remain available for those who need it due to health issues, emotional issues, concentration issues, and social issues, and everyone in between. Peabody Prep is a good program with good teachers, some of which I've had the pleasure of meeting, and others I have heard about from other students. Peabody Prep is much better and more refined than the 2020 remote school year during the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm afraid Peabody Prep will be shut down, and there will be no true alternative for Peabody students who cannot handle physical schooling. I urge you, for people like me, to allow Peabody Prep to continue on throughout the next year and the year after, and the year after that. Thank you for your consideration, Cameron Mitchell. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Christopher Anderton. My family just moved to Peabody late last summer from Connecticut, about a year before I got a job at Northeastern University. And I was commuting from Connecticut, and it was like, it's not great. But one of the things that we looked at when we were trying to find where to call home was, and the thing that attracted us for Peabody in general, was just the good school system with that. I have 4 kids. She's my youngest. She's going to be coming here to Higgins in the fall. I have 2 high schoolers and a middle schooler. My middle schooler, when we moved, he was having a really hard time adjusting to everything, and he had a lot of emotional issues with things where he was just like shutting down, and it was really just stopping him from being able to learn and continue his education with things. And coming and being able to put him into Peabody Prep was just, it was just a godsend for him. He's been able to improve his scores enormously with it, especially the ingenuity especially is really great to have and having a higher bar in there and following up on that every day. It really helped him to come up from like incredibly low scores to he suddenly like things clicked with him more with things, and we worked over how we went over again with how like grade point averages and stuff worked, and he had some missing assignments, and when things clicked with that, he went back to those assignments and was able to do those again. I was able to significantly raise his grade up in a very short amount of time, because it wasn't that he wasn't capable of doing it, it's just that things hadn't clicked for that. So being able to have Peabody Prep for all of his classes has been a godsend, and his grades have been improving enormously. His general scholarly habits have been improving enormously. Again, when he was going to Higgins, he was having a lot of issues and stuff like that, so he wasn't able to make connections with other kids around, and that was really difficult. He had a couple, like he had 1 or 2 people that he'd do stuff with sometimes that hadn't really made a really good connection with it. But since in the short time that he's been going to Peabody Prep, he has made many new friends. He's always after hours he'll be on his phone. He's like the new Zelda game just came out. They're always like talking about that and playing with that. He's made other friends. In fact, he was up way too late last night talking to a friend that he had made through Peabody Prep. So like the social aspect of that is just enormous. And through the remote school, he's been able to have the social connections that he just wasn't getting in person. And especially with the summer coming up, he's making plans to go and do things with them in person. Having the field trips and everything is just like enormous for him. And he's been able to really grow and shine, and I'm extremely grateful for Peabody Prep existing. I am really looking forward to continuing in it for him, because it's such a great fit for him, where some of my other kids, like again, Ophelia here, she'll be coming to Higgins. This is going to be the right fit for her. It's not the right fit for everybody at all the times, and so to have that has just been enormously helpful. And like the video said, I think the space and flexibility with that is enormous, and it is such a help. And I'm very grateful for everybody who allowed Peabody Prep to exist in the first place, and for everybody who puts all their hard work and effort into it. So it's just been a lifesaver for my son to continue to grow and develop with that, and that of course helps my entire family. So thank you for the opportunity and to have that, and I hope it continues for a long time.
Justin just had a few things to say. He's one of our 3rd graders. Go ahead, Justin. You're a little shy. all right. You can do this. Come on, you got it. Come on, Justin. What would you like to say? It's all right. What's that? You don't? Okay. It's all right.
You all right? You just want to say a couple things or no? Want to just say thank you, everyone? It's okay. All right. You tried, okay?
It's all right.
I'm sorry. It's okay. You tried, okay?
You tried. Hey, we're glad you came up here. Thank you, Justin. It's
Just
all
say
right.
thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Anybody else? Okay, come on up, Sheila.
I'll be quick. My name is Sheila McDade, and my granddaughter goes to the prep, and she's living with me right now. And she's a very shy kid, unlike her grandmother. But she's on an IEP, and she has some anxiety. So it has been great. Initially, I thought it wasn't going to be good because of the social, she wasn't going to get socialization. But it's not true. They go on field trips. She has, in smaller groups, flourished. And they pay so much attention. It's like, I can't say enough good about it. Sorry. Today she graduated from the 8th grade, and they gave her an award for overcoming life challenges because her mom has some issues. And I'll tell you, like, she just flourished. She has the best grades. She's just a great kid, and I just would ask you to consider keeping this program going. Thank you.
Anybody else from Peabody Prep want to say a few words? I know there was a few other folks flying around. Well, thank you all for coming. There was a few other things that you should be aware of that have been really selling this program. One, the high school starts at 8:20 in the morning. The kids get an extra hour or an hour and a half to sleep. High school students are done with their academics at 12:30, so they can go into an elective opportunity in Edgenuity, which is self-paced and mastery-based, as you just heard. So the students, if they take 3 months to do a class, that's fine. If they take 6 months to do a class, that's fine. But they only earn an A and a B in that elective class after lunch. Many of the students, and that's why I think we have the low income, are doing a job. They're done with their academics at 12, so at 1 o'clock, they're available to go out into the workforce, and they earn credit for their work-study program. So these are some of the things that are really selling it at the high school level. And as you can see, we're doing some great things and having some fun with the kids, doing our personal field trips and so forth. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate an opportunity to have a few minutes of your day. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
So we're done last presentation? To continue? Okay. What do you say?
Thank you, Dr. Lord. Thank you to all the parents and students that spoke. We have really been impressed with what has happened at Peabody Prep in the virtual school. We're one of only 6 districts that currently has a virtual school, and each year we come to the school committee to vote for continuation. So this year we are fully funded through ESSER funds, but we are required, in order to continue for a year, to have a motion to continue Peabody Prep pending funding for one more school year. So if any school committee member would like to make that motion, we would appreciate that so we can continue through our ESSER funding for one more school year.
Actually, I'd like to ask that we not vote on this tonight since we didn't get the presentation in our packet. We didn't have the opportunity to actually ask engaging questions to the director of the program. And without that, I wouldn't be comfortable voting on whether we continued the school or discontinued the school. I appreciate the people that came here today and spoke eloquently about the program, but we didn't get into other opportunities for these families and these students who are able to engage in education in a non-traditional sense that this district already funds. So I would ask that we not vote on this tonight and that we do get the materials and put it on our next regular school, scheduled school calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. Any other questions? Mrs. Carpenter?
Thank you through the chair. Dr. Vidala, is there a time-sensitive issue on this?
I believe we have to vote by July 1st.
When is our next meeting?
June 27th would be our next meeting.
Through the chair, Mr. Hockman, what are the documents that you would need in order to vote or information?
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter, through the chair. There were statistics that were put up on a presentation that I don't have an opportunity to investigate or challenge or accept or adopt because I don't have any information about them. I don't know about the attendance rate. I don't know about the number of students that are actually attending the Peabody Prep, whether those are October 1 numbers, whether those are some summer school students or mostly summer school students. I don't know whether students are coming into this program based upon areas of need, like medical need, or a need where they're having to travel to take care of a family, and how many students are in a program at any particular time. I don't know if they're told when presented with a medical situation where they think that there are no other options because they're being, because Dr. Lord contacts them, if they know what other options are available to them. We do have other, certainly at the high school level, options for students who do work, students who take care of family members who can't attend school at the traditional times that our high school goes to classes. There's a lot of questions based just upon this presentation that I'd want to be able to ask. In addition to the cost of the school and maybe the duplicative nature of it, based upon the Peabody Learning Academy, the community high school, other opportunities either in the district or within surrounding districts that can assist. I think that there's DESE services available to students who aren't able to attend schools by providing tutors for students who have medical needs or who are in hospitals or in some sort of setting that doesn't permit them to leave or to be safe health-wise to go to a school. And I'm just not sure that what we're doing, if it's duplicative in some way and costing us a lot of money. I'd like to be able to question that.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. I'm sure that Mr. Lord has written down all of your questions. A couple of options that I see here is, one, he can answer those questions for you, but you might be looking for some reports. I mean, I would be willing as a courtesy to not make the motion just because we do have another opportunity to vote on it. I will say that based on the previous years of looking at those reports and the experience of Peabody Prep and hearing the families speak, I would be prepared to vote on it tonight. I do want to thank all of the families that have spoken, that have made videos. I actually feel badly that you come to us possibly feeling like you need to defend the program and you're bearing very personal information in a public setting. And I thank you for sharing it, but I also feel badly that we don't really ask any other program to come and tell us their personal family's information. So thank you for that, and I'm sorry for that as well. You know, as a courtesy, I would be willing to wait until the next school committee meeting, but I also would like to say that I will be voting in the positive to keep the program going. So I'm not sure how the rest of the committee feels, but I would be ready to move the motion tonight if that's what the board does. But I would also, as a courtesy, wait until the next one for you to get all of the work that you need.
Thank you, Mrs. Carpenter. Mr. Amico?
Through the chair to Dr. Vidala. Dr. Vidala, if we do have that that meeting in 2 weeks, and we do vote at that time, is that enough time for you to put any necessary paperwork in before the 1st? There wouldn't be any delays in...
Yes, I mean, the funding's secure, the schedules are secure, so whether we vote tonight or vote on the 1st, on the 27th, it doesn't particularly hold anything up. Sure. Just, you know, whatever the will of the committee is.
And I, too, agree with Ms. Carpenter, with the families that shared those personal feelings with us, and we really don't have other groups come in and discuss that. So thank you for doing that. But with that said, I think, you know, due diligence, you know, we do have to look at certain information, and I do respect Mr. Hockman's request. And I would be okay with delaying this for 2 weeks to the next meeting if Dr. Vidala, through the chair, and Dr. Lord can get us some more information that Mr. Hockman needs, and then we can go ahead and take that vote in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Amico. Any other comments or questions? Do we want to, Mr. Hockman?
Just very quickly, you know, I don't know why I'm feeling badly about requesting a delay in the vote until we get the materials that we need in order to vote. this isn't the first time that we've been asked to vote on something where the materials haven't been presented to us in a timely manner. It's the way that we should be doing business, and I appreciate the courtesies that are afforded to me by my colleagues here. I also appreciate the families and the folks that have spoken tonight about your personal experiences, because they are heart-wrenching, and frankly, they're not, I don't think that at a public session they're any of our business, respectfully. I mean, I don't mean that in any bad way. What I mean is that we don't, like my colleague said, we don't ask anyone else why they're in any particular program. Well, you do what's best for your children, and that's great. Advocating for your children or your grandchildren or the children that you care for is what you're supposed to do, and it sounds like you're doing a phenomenal job. But it generally doesn't come to a public meeting like this. Those are conversations that take place with, caseworkers or with IEP team chairs or with principals or staff members within school buildings. So I'm sorry that you actually had to come here tonight to talk to us about your experiences, because it really shouldn't have come to that. And if anyone asked you to do that, I'm actually offended that somebody would have asked you to do that, because it's not something that you should have had to do or should have been asked to do. With that being said, I appreciate the courtesy, and hopefully we take this up on the 27th. As my colleague said, you're probably assured that this is going to continue, because I usually lose this vote. But I still think that it's my job to go through the steps and to represent taxpayers and all the members of the school community, because while there was a presentation that talked about how the prep saves money for our school district, it takes money away from other students, and that's not to say your students aren't entitled to a fair, free, and appropriate education. They are, absolutely. I'm just saying that there are some things that are kind of being presented here that appear to me to be a little propaganda-esque and not making me terribly comfortable. So I appreciate the courtesy. Hopefully we can take this up on June 27th. As the superintendent said, that leaves him time to complete whatever documents are necessary to ensure what's going to occur with this program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, all of you. Just hearing the comments made, do we need a motion to continue to the 27th? Can we just hold this to the 27th? Why don't we just hold this to the 27th, have it on the agenda, knowing that there'd be a vote made that evening for the continuation of the program. Yes, sir.
Just a kind of addendum to it, I can't stop singing the praises of the program for it with how it's done. I tell everybody how great the Peabody Prep program has been for it, and I'm a big advocate for public schools. I think public schools are the best thing for the country as a whole. I think that's what's made our world such a good world, is the access to education for things. I just kind of want to add that I tell everybody about how good Peabody Prep has been, and I'm not, it's all about having the correct fit for the students, where, again, like she'll be here at Higgins next year, where Gil has really thrived in Peabody Prep where he was not. So I just want to add that it was not, I just can't stop singing the praises of the program.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So we'll hold that to the 27th. Yes?
Just very quickly, I just wanted to clarify that I asked if I could come and share tonight in support of the Peabody Prep.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take a 1-minute break. Thank you. We'll hold this to the 27th.
Actually, Mr. Mayor.
No, that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, could we take a photograph of the young children? They have been extremely... Oh, good, all right, thank you. Come on, you all need your photo taken. And compliments to all of the students and their parents and their schools, because you are all such a good reflection on them. Go ahead, stand out here by that table, right there, back where you spoke. Yep, right there.
Right here then.
Why is there a table in there?
Yeah. The mic's still on.
Thank you, all of you. Look at all that bravery. You all look lovely. I sent Miss D'Souza some pictures.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Good job, my man, good job. Nice to have you here. Take care, and thank you for being here. Thank you. I'm going to go to you. Yeah, he was going into. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting back to order and turn it over to Ms. Carpenter. Ms. Carpenter, you had a motion?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to go back into executive session with the intention to return to public session.
Second.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mrs. Carpenter, seconded by Mr. Amico. All in favor? That's a vote, and we'll be returning. So roll call. We need a roll call vote. Roll call vote, please, to go into executive session. Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mr. Hockman?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, and we'll be returning following executive session. Thank you.
like to make a motion that we go back into, oh, okay. No, we made it, we could make it in the other room. Yeah. Made a motion in the other room that we enter back into open session. So we're back. It was seconded by John Swanson.
Okay, good evening. Thank you. Mrs. Dunn, would you like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion we enter into public session again,
Great, thank you. You've heard
after returning from executive session.
You've heard the motion by Mrs. Dunn to return to public session after adjourning from executive session. That motion was seconded by Mr. Swanson. Roll call vote.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Great, thank you. It's been a long night, a number of important items we had earlier before the executive session, so I wanted to go back to the original agenda. Item number 2, we have minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes of May 9, 2023 for the fiscal year 24 budget meeting.
Second.
I'm going to add to that motion to approve the May 9, 2023 regular school committee minutes.
Second.
Also move to approve the May 16, 2023 fiscal year 24 budget meeting.
Second.
And a motion to approve the May 30th, 2023 fiscal year public hearing on the budget. So moved.
Second with a correction.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hockman. You've heard the motion. Seconded by Mrs. Dunn. On the motion, Mrs. Dunn, is there an item you want to mention?
Yes, on page 2 of the May 30th public hearing on the budget, it's just a correction to have Representative Sally Karen's name spelled correctly in the minutes. It's Kerans. And that was the only correction.
Okay, with that correction, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr.
Great.
Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. Yes.
Make a motion to approve warrant number 5365 in the amount of $40,311.36, which is carried forward from our May 23rd, 2023 meeting. So moved.
Great, thank you, Mr. Hockman. You heard the motion for approval of warrant 5365. That motion was seconded by Mr. Swanson. Roll call vote for approval, please.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Amico? Yes. Mrs. Dunn?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve warrant number 5366 in the amount of $1,784,705.32, subject to audit, which is carried forward from our May 23rd, 2023 meeting. So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. You heard his motion for approval of warrant number 5366. That motion was seconded by Mr. Swanson. Roll call vote for approval, please.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve warrant number 5384 in the amount of $1,067,884.46, subject to audit.
Second.
Great, thank you. You've heard the motion by Mr. Hockman for approval of warrant 5384, seconded by Mr. Swanson. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve warrant number 5386 in the amount of $156,229.75, subject to audit.
Second.
Great, thank you. You heard Mr. Hockman's motion for approval of warrant number 5386. That motion was seconded by Mr. Swanson. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman, for those motions. Next, we'll go to item number 4, continued business. We do have a couple of items. First being the Welch School MSBA project update. Mrs. Dunn, anything to report today?
No, just that it's really interesting to participate in the meetings and find out how closely the construction crew follows the activities at the Welch and is conscious of everything going on site to make sure that they don't interfere with the day-to-day activities of the students. And also, there was a very special project at the Welch where they had done some science work on dropping eggs protected eggs from the roof of the school, and nobody else has a construction crew that could lift people up high enough to do that. So that was pretty cool. So project's moving right along, still on schedule. They are moving so quickly, it is amazing, and you'll be very pleased to see when school opens how far along they really are. So as soon as school closes on the 20th, on the 21st, the teachers will report to school, and then all the new furniture is coming in for additional classrooms. They're moving everything in for the back end of the building already, so it's good.
Great, thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Any comments or questions on that item? Seeing none, we'll go to item number 2 under continued business, which is the MASC resolution on digital video surveillance. Mrs. Dunn, anything to report on that?
No, honestly, I had requested that this be put into this packet because we had brought it forward during a budget hearing, and I didn't want it to get lost in the shuffle. This way, it is maintained in our records. Also, just so you know, numerous school committees are going to sign on to that resolution, so it is probably going to be passed in November, and it's on its way to help with Mr. Swanson and the safety committee's work. Thank you.
Terrific, thank you, Mrs. Dunn. There are a few remaining items in superintendent's report, so Dr. Vidala, can I turn it over to you for those items?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Items 3 and 4 we can take up together. They're both surplus books. So we have a number of old, outdated surplus elementary school books. So there's a letter from Dr. Chase in our written communications. And what we'd like to do with those is send them home with the students for the summer so they could do some summer math work, but they're no longer pertinent to our instructional model. And if we don't send any home, we'd like to donate some of those to the library. As well as we have a letter from Ms. Pease, our librarian, who has been working very closely with Ms. Dunn. We have some library books from PVMHS that we'd also like to donate, either to a used bookstore, or we'd like to give some options for students to take them home if they're interested as well. So we could take these up individually or together, but to declare the book surplus and dispose of the books through donations to our students and or to any community organizations. We won't be throwing things away, but we'd like to make donations.
I'd like to make a motion to follow the recommendation of the superintendent and declare the elementary math books surplus pursuant to the memorandum that we received this evening. So moved.
Second.
Great, thank you, Mrs. Dunn, for bringing forth that motion. The motion was seconded by Mr. Hockman. All in favor, that's a vote for approval.
And I would like to follow the recommendation of the superintendent and declare as surplus the PVMHS library books as reported to us in the memorandum contained in this packet, and vote that they are surplus and they can be distributed. So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. You've heard the motion, seconded by Mr. Amico. All in favor of that motion? That's a unanimous vote. And one more item, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And the last item is just some donations that we received for the McCarthy School Playground. So on the screen, I've shown a visual of what the playground will actually look like. We're very excited about this. It has, at the bottom left of your screen, you see the elementary version of the play structure, and then we have it's very accessible. You'll see that there are some ramps and some walkways there to be able to have our students access that either via wheelchair or if they needed some accessibility features. And there's also a mini tot lot at the top right of the screen. There's some shaded structures, so it's a very, very nice design. The McCarthy community is very excited about this, and it will also be able to be used in the summer with our rec program. So we're very excited. We received a number of donations totaling $45,950. So there are some details of that in your packet. We'd like to entertain a motion to accept those with gratitude, and then we'll send all the donors thank you letters. We'll personalize them and have a nice little handwritten signature for each of them with the committee's approval.
Motion to receive with gratitude.
Second.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Vidala, for that item, and I thank you for the motion, Mrs. Dunn, seconded by Mr. Hockman for approval. Again, all in favor, unanimous vote, that's approved.
Thank you. That concludes the superintendent's report.
Okay, excellent. Public participation. We'll go to that item now. Item number 6. Is anyone in the audience that would like to come forward and speak? The microphone is open. Seeing no one today, do we have anybody joining us remotely, Dr. Vidala?
Seeing none.
All right, we'll go to written communications. We do have a number of items under written communications this evening. The first being is the Essex North Shore Agricultural and Technical School FY24 budget booklet. Any action be taken on that item? Mrs. Dunn?
Mr. Chairman, I don't believe there's any action for the committee to take. It's really provided for informational purposes, and I knew you'd all want to see that and have that going forward. If there's anything you need or any information, I'd be glad to add to it, but really, it's just an FYI.
Motion to receive, Mr. Mayor.
Great, thank you, Mr. Hockman. You've heard the motion, seconded by Mr. Swanson. All in favor of receipt of that packet? Thank you. Next is the July 2023 to June 2024 school committee meeting schedule. Any comments or action at this time, Mrs. Dunn?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just one. We always look at August. Sometimes we might need two, so I just wanted to make sure that when we take this vote, we know we're flexible on the summer, on July and August. Usually August is the one where we need to have an extra meeting. That's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Any other comments or questions? Do we need a vote today, or is that just for?
We can hold it. Well, we can receive it today.
Okay.
Motion to receive.
Yeah.
You okay with
You heard the motion to receive by Ms. Okay, motion received by Mr. Hockman, seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. Again, all in favor of receipt. That's a unanimous vote. The third item today, under written communication, is the letter to the MSBA regarding the West School project. We also have number 4, letter from a Peabody Prep parent, and number 5, the monthly report from Bay State Textiles. Any comments on any of those items, Mr. Hockman?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, motion to receive each of those items.
Second.
Motion to receive made by Mr. Hockman to all those items, number 3, 4, and 5, under written communications, number 7, seconded by Mrs. Dunn. All in favor of receipt. That's a vote. On the item, Mr. Hockman.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, through you, I think maybe to Dr. Vidala, can we just flesh out a little bit about the letter to the MSBA regarding the West School? I just didn't want someone who might pick up the packet and read the communication to have a misunderstanding as to what we're doing.
Yes, so that was, we had put in an accelerated repair project for the West School roof. When they examined the roof, they realized that the roof over the main building, the larger section of the roof, was 29 years, and their limit was 30, so they approved a scope of work for just the roof above the gymnasium, which is the better roof of the two, unfortunately. And when we put in the work, it tripled in cost, and it did not seem fiscally responsible, so we did decide to pause on that work, and we wanted to notify the MSBA of that, so that's what that letter is.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Dr. Vidala. I know that you and I have had conversations about that in subcommittee meetings, building and grounds, and things along that nature. Just wanted to make sure that it got out to the general public.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. And just to add to Dr. Vidala's words, which were right on point, you know, this was just, again, a situation, and we've run into some other bids that we've put out, just the costs have escalated rapidly, and we felt that this project could be put on hold for a little bit of time and hopefully get some better pricing in the future. So this was just required that we send this notice to the MSBA. I did want to mention, there's certainly a lot going on in the MSBA, and I think we've talked a little bit about this in past meetings, but there are the 2 different programs. There's the core program, which are repeating myself a little bit to this group, but if people are listening, I wanted to mention the core program is for new schools or major renovations like we're doing at the Welch School now and what we did at the Higgins Middle School. There also is the accelerated repair program, which is for new roofs, new windows, new boilers, things of that nature, which this particular one would fall under the West School. We have done a number of these projects almost on a yearly basis, doing a number of projects across the district. Right now, the MSBA, because of these rising costs and because of the unexpected increases that have taken place in a number of projects, the MSBA has put a hold on all of these projects right now, all accelerated repair program projects are on hold right now. I think they're reevaluating the system. I expect that we'll be hearing shortly as to where things stand with this program, because certainly a number of cities are being heard on this and reaching out to the MSBA, and I think they've just put a pause to try to come up with the appropriate response. So I expect we'll be hearing of that shortly. But again, this is just one where we had to put a pause on. Certainly, we're hoping to do that project in the future. Okay.
I have a
Mrs.
question.
Dunn, yes.
The reason I asked for this in here was because I wanted to know, by doing this, are we completely removed from that? Or, as you say, we're paused, but it looks like we've taken ourselves out of that program. What is the actual status of us with the West School and the accelerated repair program?
So yeah, pause may not have been the right word. We have removed ourselves from this project for now. So we just said that we're not moving forward with the project, and then we would resubmit at the appropriate time once the MSBA has their, I think they're going to be doing some changes to their formulas and things of that nature. But no, so we have removed ourselves right now. We've just stated they wanted something in writing, just stated that we're not moving forward. I know a number of other cities and towns have done this as well with some projects that they were looking into. So pause is the inappropriate word. I think removed is correct, but I think Dr. Vidal and I think all of us know that this is a project we need to do in the near future. So we're hoping to revisit that once we get the framework of where the MSBA is going to be doing this type of work, or how they're going to be doing
And our
this type
hope
of work.
is that the larger section, the tar and gravel section over the main building, will be eligible for the accelerated repair program when we reapply, so we'd be able to do the whole roof, and it'll be a better project for the school. So that's what our hope is. That we just missed it by a year or two, and now, you know, when the ARP program comes back on, we do think that will be eligible, and then hopefully we'll be able to do the whole roof, which will be much more cost effective, because the reimbursement will be for the entire roof.
Yeah, because we really do need a new roof there. Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. So now we'll go to item 8, subcommittee reports. We can go through any updates on any of the subcommittees. Number 1, education. Mr. Amico?
Through the mayor, before I start, I failed to recognize our recording secretaries this evening at the beginning of the meeting, Marge Marcarelli, and our newly hired recording secretary, Laura Bowe. Welcome aboard and welcome back, and you'll be wonderful, so thank you for joining us. On Education Subcommittee, this is the last meeting we'll have before summer break. When we meet again in 2 weeks, we'll be on summer break, so I just wanted to take a minute to recognize all our teachers, our staff, parents, and of course the most important people, our students, for a great year. And it was a long year, but a great year. And I just want to recognize all those great people who make this a very, very, very good school district. So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Amico. Well said. Finance.
Yeah, Mr. Olympio was able to share with me that he has nothing to report tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. School safety.
He shared that with me as well.
Okay. Athletics and wellness. Mr. Hockman.
I just wanted to, also, it is the end of the school year, and we've had a lot of accomplishments during the school year, and we've talked about them athletically during the course of our meetings since school began in September, August. So I don't want to rehash all those, but I do want to point out special recognition for our girls softball team, which made it to the semifinals in the state, I think for the second consecutive year, and unfortunately they were not successful tonight. So their run has ended, but the accomplishments that they've achieved are certainly significant and worthy of mention, and I hope that we can have the team here, whether it's hopefully before some of them leave for college, maybe at a meeting over the course of the summer.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman, for pointing that out, and it's been another incredible sports season. And again, we've talked so much about our athletic programs, performing arts. Just continues. It's great.
We also do have some pretty talented track and field athletes who are going to be competing at the national level, national competition, I believe in Pennsylvania. We're sending 19 Peabody students to compete at nationals, which is quite impressive. And Coach Palmieri and Coach Braz continue to do a phenomenal job for us, and it's exciting to see our kids not only participate in athletics and our drama kids won Drama Fest this year, Stage 1. It's also exciting to see them excel and succeed. So good stuff going on all around.
I wanted to mention the 5th grade Olympics was a big success, and we had our Olympian, our City of Peabody Olympian, Samantha Arsenault, came by and said hello to the students in the 5th grade. The center school won for the first time. They were victorious and were the Olympic winners. And also a special recognition for the South School and the Brown School for sportsmanship and for school spirit, an award that is given in honor of Kara Murtagh. But it was a great event. We got lucky. It rained a lot this week, but we had those particular hours were rain-free, and it was a terrific event. So I wanted to mention the center school for the first time was victorious.
I feel like we've morphed into a segment of bridesmaids here. No one else feeling that?
Yes. So, okay, quality and standards, Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nothing to report this evening, but we are going to complete the new library policies. I have been working closely with Ms. Pease at the library at the high school, and she is really wonderful to work with. She has some great ideas. And then the MASC policy changes, we received a list, an extensive list, and still going through which ones of our policies need to be adjusted. So that's going to be over the next couple of months, probably completed in time for the beginning of school.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Parent and student advisory boards, anything to report, Mrs. Dunn?
No, nothing new to report other than the fact that over the summer, the Parent Advisory Board is going to be reinvigorated, and the citywide PTO will be starting, so that when everyone comes back in September, those will be on tap. And Student Advisory Board, I believe they're having their elections this week, so that they'll be prepared to come in right away in the fall.
Great, thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Building and grounds, Mr. Hockman?
Nothing to report.
Special Education Parent Advisory Board, we'll hold that item. City Council Legislative Delegation, Mrs. Carpenter, we'll hold that. Redistricting, we'll hold that one. And Mr. Swanson, anything on the performing arts?
Just a quick one. All the performing arts groups from middle school all the way to high school had a very busy last 2 weeks for their performances. You all saw the band, stage one, sorry, not stage one, chorale and full house all through the city celebrating our schools and our students. So wrapped up another phenomenal year.
Great, thank you, Mr. Swanson. Next item, new business. We do have some items under new business. I'll just go right down the list. First one is the 2022-23 retirees. Mr. Miko, wanted to bring that forward.
Sure, thank you through the chair. I was hoping that we could have a reception before one of our meetings, maybe at the next meeting. I don't know if that's possible. If not, we can do that in July. Just that was something that we used to do, and then COVID hit, and it's just, you know, our teachers are so valuable in the city. Many of them live in the city and put so much effort, not only during the school year, but, you know, in the summers, coaching and doing everything else that they do. It's just so nice that after 30 years that we recognize them in public. Thank you.
Ooh, on that topic?
Thank you, Mr. Miko. On that item, Mrs. Dunn.
I'd like to see us continue the tradition that was in place where the retirees were able to select their favorite children's book and a school library to have it donated to, and then we would do that in their honor, and those books would be, you know, at the ceremony, and people could see what folks had chosen for the donation. So if we could do that again, I think that would be nice. That kind of fell away from COVID as well.
I totally agree.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. You're right on. All right, Dr. Vidal, we'll discuss that item later. That's great. Graduation rate, Mr. Hockman, you wanted to bring that forward?
Yeah, if we can just move this to the next meeting. It's getting a little late in the evening. But while I have the floor, I did also want to, while we're recognizing all the accomplishments of the district this year, I did also want to recognize the JROTC, who's been everywhere. We've had so many events going on in the last month, and they've really done a phenomenal job. They stepped up. They were at Portuguese Day at City Hall, I think it was Saturday, and those kids were standing at attention. There was a Council General from Portugal who spoke, it seemed like, for about 75 minutes, and those kids were in attention for the full time in a difficult day. It was a breezy, it was very windy. It was anyway, they've been everywhere, and I just wanted to give them some recognition as well.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. Next item under new business is maintenance/custodians. Mrs. Dunn wanted to bring that forward today?
Yes, actually, I would just like to refer that to the Building and Grounds Subcommittee. What I would like to see is a list of the maintenance workers and the custodians for the schools, and look at the deployment of those people to see if we have enough, because I know that the custodians were in the past assigned based on the square footage of a building and the number of custodians in the building, and I know it's difficult to find custodians, but I don't think we are at the level that we are supposed to be for the size of the buildings. And so I would like to just send that to the Building and Grounds Subcommittee for further action.
Good idea. Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Okay, FKO contract and fees, Mrs. Dunn, also bring that forward.
Thank you. In your packet, you'll notice all of the contracts with FKO, as well as a report that I had requested, and I want to thank Mr. Rippon and Dr. Vidala for preparing the list of the fee that we have received annually from FKO. This was related to our discussion during the budget session a couple of weeks ago, when we were talking about fees and talking about revenue for the district. We talked about bus fees and athletic fees, but we never had the information we needed regarding FKO. I honestly think it's time, and I know it's time to renegotiate a contract with them, and I would like to have that referred to the Finance Subcommittee to work with Mr. Rippon and Dr. Vidala to come to us with a new plan on the amount of money that we need to receive from FKO and to update the contract however they need to do that. So I would like to make a motion it be referred to Finance Subcommittee.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. You've heard that motion.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Amico. All in favor of that transfer? Thank you, Mrs. Dunn.
The next item? Oh.
Please, strategic plan, go right ahead.
Okay. I requested that the strategic plan be provided to us. That strategic plan actually expires at the end of this school year. So I'm not asking for action on it tonight, but what I would like to ask would be for everyone to take a look at it, to see if at our next meeting, if we could discuss what we would like to do, if we would like to extend it for one more year, and perhaps request that the strategic plan be evaluated. We need to see how we've done under that plan, and then make plans for the next strategic plan with new dates and possibly new benchmarks. So I would just really like to ask if everyone could take a look at it, and if we could handle it next week and make a decision on how we'd like to proceed. It's a long-term project, so that's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. And the last item is the superintendent's evaluation.
I would like to ask my colleagues if they would allow me to work with Dr. Vidala to set up a calendar for the superintendent's evaluation process. It's coming up to be time for his evaluation, and I need to work with him to come up with the timeline, the documents we need, and when we would be providing all of that to the school committee.
Move to approve the request of Ms. Dunn.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mr. Hockman, seconded by Mr. Amico. I think we're all in favor of that item as well. That's great. Next meeting is on Tuesday, June 27th. The items for the next agenda will be handled in the regular course of business, and entertain a motion to adjourn if there's nothing further.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Seconded by Mr. Amico. All in favor. Thank you for a productive meeting.
I'm laughing because I think that's the first